This is the Ohio AgNet from the voice you know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Veltima Fungicide, the proven #1 for the toughest corn diseases with long-lasting residual, when you need to be confident your fungicide will perform. I'm Ty Higgins. Join the Ohio AgNet Monday as we get an update from Ohio Corn and Wheat about the great work being done to represent Ohio's grain farmers at the state and national levels. And later on today, it's our monthly check-in at Farm Credit Mid-America. Tune in as we discuss the latest Farm Credit Mid-America news and updates. Expanding farmer access to low-carbon biofuel markets, an update on the Endangered Species Act, and rain is setting in. This morning's news feed is delivered by Ebert's Field Seeds, proven local seed performance for Ohio farmers. It's time to start planting Ebert's. Call 937-473-2521 or visit online at ebertsseeds.com. BASF and Nutrien have announced a strategic collaboration designed to help farmers gain more value from sustainable farming practices already in use. Under the collaboration, Nutrien agronomists will work directly with growers to optimize yield potential using practical on-farm sustainability practices. Together, the organization will make it easier for farmers to participate in low-carbon intensity biofuel programs, including those supported under the Clean Fuel Production Credit, also known as Section 45Z, and prepare for future low-carbon biofuels markets. Chad Asmus is BASF's Sustainability Market Development Manager.
What's before North American agriculture right now with the opportunity presented is the opportunity for agriculture to be recognized for the good things farmers are doing to help lower the carbon intensity of biofuels. And so with the 45Z Clean Fuel Production Credit going towards biofuels as a whole to understand how to help reduce the carbon intensity of ethanol and renewable diesel, for example. Agriculture and how that crop is grown constitutes a significant component of ethanol's final carbon intensity. And what 45Z introduced is the ability to account for that, of how that crop is grown and being able to overwrite the defaults and to give recognition for the good conservation practices that farmers are already doing.
Through the collaboration, Nutrien agronomists will work closely with growers to tailor sustainability practices that align with the unique conditions of each farm. Dr. Sally Fliss is Director of Sustainable Ag Programs with Nutrien.
Since 2021, we've touched just over 5 million acres in the U.S. and Canada with our nitrogen management programs. In the U.S., we're actually asking growers to reduce their nitrogen rate in order to be a part of the carbon program that we run. And so it's a great fit for us to take what we're doing, what we've been successful with in our Sustainable Nitrogen Outcomes program to optimize nitrogen management and come alongside BASF and Zarvia with their tools to be able to get the data to where it needs to be to have the growers take advantage of an opportunity like 45Z is presenting to them in the field.
You can read more about this new collaboration online now at ohioagnet.com. Let's check in with our weekly update from the Ohio Soybean Council and your checkoff dollars at work. Here's Dusty Sonnenberg.
I'm joined today by Dr. Taylor Dill, Director of Research with the Ohio Soybean Council, and Dr. Alyssa Essman, OSU Extension Weed Science Specialist, talking about the Endangered Species Act as the EPA goes through the process of re-registration of a number of different chemistries and changes potentially to label requirements.
In terms of what herbicides we'll have in the Endangered Species Act, what can we look forward in 2027, 2028? What kind of changes do you expect for us to keep an eye out for and other herbicide labels?
Yeah, so this is kind of an unfolding situation. So as products go through the registration review process, those herbicide labels will be updated. And so if you go to the EPA's website, you can kind of see the list of those that are kind of up next on the docket. There are some pretty important products on there. If memory serves, atrazine, metribuzin, glyphosate, and 2,4-D, I think are kind of maybe those up next. And so in the coming years, we might expect the labels to change for some really important herbicides. And so I think the Liberty Ultra and these dicamba products kind of ease us into this and have kind of very simple low point requirements to kind of give us some experience in dealing with these application record keeping changes before we get into a situation where we have, a larger number of products that require this effort.
And today's update brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff.
Thank you, Dusty. The forecast brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's Ryan Martin.
Here's what's going on. We've got hit and miss moisture kind of lingering from last night and yesterday's action across the Buckeye State. This is going to start the day with probably 30-40% coverage, but I'm really watching a big cluster of thunderstorm action coming together in Iowa this morning. Once that gets going and starts to rip out, look out. It's headed straight towards us. Now, to be fair, the strong to severe action, or at least the strongest action, wants to go north into parts of the Great Lakes. Michigan could get absolutely ripped this evening and overnight, but I think we see our own good round of showers and thunderstorms trying to move through the rest of the state. It's going to give us another 1/4 to 1 inch before the day is done. I think we get into tomorrow morning and start to dry down, and we're pleasant through.
The Ohio Soybean Association has announced a new conservation award. With more on that, here's Allison Kenny.
The Ohio Soybean Association, the advocacy voice for Ohio soybean farmers, is excited to announce the inaugural Ohio Soybean Association Conservation Award. This award will recognize soybean farmers in Ohio who have gone above and beyond to implement best management practices that are both environmentally conscious and profitable. Applications for the award are available at soyohio.org/OSA Conservation and are due on August 14th. Applications are only open to OSA members. The recipient of the 2026 award will be submitted to compete for the American Soybean Association Conservation Legacy Award for recognition at the national level. An Ohio farmer last won this award in 2023. For more information on how to apply, the entire article can be found at ohioagnet.com. For the Ohio Agnet, I'm Allison Kenny reporting.
Thank you, Allison. What do you need to know if you're a first-time cover crop user? We'll have the details in today's featured audio next here on the Ohio Agnet.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Ohio farmers, we know summer means long days in the field and plenty of work still to do. And the Ohio Agnet wants to bring lunch to your farm. The Feeding Farmers contest is back this summer and we'll be choosing farms across Ohio for a visit from the Ohio Agnet along with free lunch for your farm, family, and crew. Get entered today at ohioagnet.com/feeding farmers. Feeding Farmers is brought to you by Ag Revolution, Paradise Energy Solutions, Tempty, and the Ohio Agnet.
Welcome back on the Ohio Agnet. I'm Joe Everett. My guest today is Kara Spicer with B&B AgVantages. And Kara, when it comes to cover crops, there's a lot of things to consider. What's one of the first things farmers should think about when starting?
So number one is what their real goal is. You know, that can be anything. We get growers that just call in and say, I just signed up for this government program. I don't really know what I need, but I know I'm in this program. So this is, what do I need to do? And so there's guys that do that. There's guys that are looking at, I have an erosion problem. I would really like to do something to help with. I want to focus on that. Sometimes their goals are just breaking up really compacted dirt. They want to get something out there to help with that. We also, we do soil sampling. So a lot of guys, when they get back their soil sample results, maybe their organic matter has dropped significantly, or it's just a really low number because it's a new farm they got, something like that. And they're looking for a way to raise the organic matter. So I think first thing is just what's their goal? What are they really looking to accomplish by adding cover crops into the mix?
When growers plant these cover crops, how important is the timing and what do those windows look like?
Truthfully, from an agronomy standpoint, and no grower ever likes this answer, right? But so much of it depends on what happens after you plant. So much of it depends on the timing of the rain, less than when you actually put it out. And some of that is determined on if they are in a program. And then I believe last year, the plant date for several of the programs was, I want to say October 15th. So, there they have a cutoff date of they need to have it planted before this date. And that's the only thing that they, really have in mind. It's having it before then. But truthfully, as far as planting of it, we plant cover crops anywhere from late July, beginning of August, all the way through. There's a frost seeding program that we go out and, we can go out in January and February and frost seed cover crops. And we've seen plantings anywhere in those timeframes really take off and look great. So much of it just depends on what happens following that planting window. Rye, for example, rye's pretty forgiving. It's a cover crop that can go a lot of different places, and as long as it gets some moisture out there, it's going to take off and go. And regardless of when you really get it out and going.
For these cover crops, there's a lot of different options. What do you feel are some of the more popular ones farmers are using?
I guess kind of how we look at it is I like oats. I look at that as kind of like the beginner cover crop because it's something they can put out in the fall, late summer, fall, and it's going to die off before they go out next spring, right? So there's no concern about worrying about getting it killed off before or after planting, and are they going to let it grow too long, that kind of thing. It's a pretty easy one to get started on. Then after that, we steer guys towards rye or barley, and sometimes still mixing some oats in there. So like rye is what we push a lot of guys to put ahead of beans. That's the next year they're going to beans. Barley, we push that ahead of corn. We had a lot of guys start using a rye oats mix. The oats are going to get up early. They're going to take off. They're going to give you some cover early on. The rye is still going to come back, so you're still going to have some green out there that you can kill off ahead of planting, but it's not going to be as thick of a stand. Just kind of a good blend.
Thanks, Kara, for the information today. My guest has been Kara Spicer with B&B AgVantages. I'm Joe Everett for the Ohio AgNet reporting.
Thanks so much, Joe. We'll get a check of the markets and analysis after this as the Ohio AgNet continues.
If agriculture is your way of life, you need news you can count on. That's why Ohio farmers turn to Ohio's Country Journal, your source for the latest in crop updates, livestock insights, market trends, and the stories that celebrate country life across our state. Every issue keeps you informed, connected, and ready for what's next in Ohio agriculture. So don't miss a beat. Renew your subscription or sign up today at ocj.com/renew and grow with the publication built for Ohio farm families. That's ocj.com/renew.
Life on the farm moves fast, and so does the news that matters to you. Stay ahead with the Digital Daily from Ohio AgNet and Ohio's Country Journal. Each morning, get the top ag headlines, market trends, weather updates, and the stories shaping Ohio agriculture, all delivered right to your inbox. It's free, it's easy, and it keeps you informed before the day gets going. Sign up now at ohioagnet.com for the Digital Daily and get yours first thing in the morning. Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Ty Higgins, and this morning's market analysis is brought to you by Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished the Wednesday session mostly higher, 6 to 9 cents higher on soybeans, up about a penny or so on corn. Wheat had a nice little day to the upside as well, call it 1 to 3 cents. Chicago, KC, Minneapolis markets. Overall, it was just not much of a day to have excitement outside of a couple geopolitical headlines. First of all, after the retaliation strike by the U.S. on Iran because Iran brought down a helicopter, Trump threatened to restart the war. Energy markets took that in check, up about $2.50 to $3 a barrel on crude oil yesterday, and I think that probably supported the grain markets a little bit as well. Otherwise, there wasn't a lot of new information on the grain side. Keep in mind, we've got a WASDE report that is out on Thursday that should impact the market, at least in corn, by seeing some changes to the export profile. Otherwise, everything else is supposed to stay pretty stagnant. Weather is also a growing concern across the country. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. In the overnight trade, corn for July up 3/4 cents at $4.19 3/4. December up 3/4 as well at $4.47 1/2. July soybeans up by a penny at $11.24 a bushel. New crop November $11.41 1/4, up by 2 3/4. July wheat 3/4 cent to the plus side, trading at $5.88 1/4 overnight. September wheat $6 3/4 a penny, up by 1 3/4. After yesterday's close, June live cattle 207 higher at $250.10. August 241.50, up $1.80. Feeder cattle for September, $351.37, up 67 cents. October, $347.72, up 82. And June lean hogs down 40 cents at 93.17. July, 96.85 and 70 cents higher. This is the Ohio AgNet.